Welcome, everyone, to In the Green Room. I'm Kinga.
And I'm Chet.
And I'm Martin.
We've got RVnGO back in the studio.
Yeah,
welcome back, Paul
baby.
and Jennifer.
What about Jennifer? Say hello.
I said welcome back, Paul and Jennifer.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining us today.
Cheers. Can we all have a toast to?
Yeah.
Cheers.
Cheers to
Celebration.
success.
Here's to success.
That's
Yeah.
what today's
success.
That's the main theme of today's
That's why we're
episode.
drinking champagne on a morning, and it's wonderful being this successful. I tell you,
When you drink in the morning, it makes you feel successful. That's
it
for sure.
does. It
But,
makes you feel rich.
We have some people here in the studio that have really accomplished a lot. Paul, we'll start with you, and you've had an extensive career doing many different things. Right now, you're starting up your own company, RVnGO, or it's already up and running and chugging along. But let's start with where you started with opening the business and what led you into opening RVnGO.
Yeah, so I have a background in law, economics, MBA, and I was associated with a couple of really successful companies, including Creo. We ended up selling that company. I kind of led that. We sold it for $1 billion to Kodak back in the day when that was possible. Kodak existed, and then I came to Arizona 15 years ago to take First Solar public, and was part of the executive team to do that. And that was the most successful IPO, the bankers told me, between Google and Alibaba.
Wow!
And then fast forward a few years, and I'm driving to Vancouver, British Columbia, to do a charity bicycle ride for cancer research, and I'm thinking to myself, I've been associated with these great companies, and they all rested on a three-legged stool of people, product, and market. And I figured great people make great products, so what's the market? And the founding thought and the founding idea of RVnGO was, I want to create a great company that brings people together, brings out the best in people, and then, what's the market? And I was thinking of Airbnb business model, passing one RV after another on this road trip when I came up with the idea for RVnGO. And, that was several years ago, so some persistence and all that to get here, but we're growing like crazy. And we don't have we don't have a mission statement at RVnGO. We have beliefs and values, and we start with a belief, which is why we're doing what we're doing. And what we believe in is we want to bring people together. And once we realized that, the whole business model became clear. We should make it free. So the platform is free. There's no fees, because if you're charging fees, you're not bringing people together. You're pulling them apart. You're putting yourself in the middle as another middleman.
Well, you're still making your money on the insurance side of things, though.
Yeah. The real vision was to create a company that insures the transaction. You need to do it. It's an RV rental. And that's where we kind of make our money off compelling value-added services. So instead of, we talk about it's sort of like Airbnb for RVs, but even Airbnb charges 15 to 30% in fees. We don't charge anything.
And then there's the random sneaky cleaning fee the next week, and you're like, "What the hell, Consuela? I handed you a 50."
And
back to bite me in the ass.
And once we realized what our belief was, which was bringing people together, it also meant transparency, brutal transparency. We're just very clean, very honest. You get the invoice. That's all there is. There's no cleaning fees afterwards. All spelled out. And we don't own the RVs, so individuals can come on.
Sustainability.
Right.
Sustainability is right there, because when
Getting those RVs back on the roads, they're not sitting there deteriorating, rotting in your garage.
repurposing.
I was driving by a storage lot, and it was just filled with unused RVs. They're just sitting there rotting in the sun. They're probably paying, $100, $150 a month for it to sit there?
$300 or $400.
Is it really that much now? So it's crazy.
It is. And the thing about RVs is they break down faster if you don't use them than when you do use them. Because, they got all the water systems and the water pumps and everything. You got to use them.
Use it or lose it. That's the way of every machine and your body, too.
Yes.
Yeah. Get out there and use it.
Okay, before we take a total right-hand turn on the use it or lose it feed.
So we are here saving the planet
One show at a time.
Woohoo! And I want to say that, Paul, our listeners want to know what are your secrets to success?
Well, he just touched on one of his main themes that really differentiates RVnGO from other businesses is that they're more focused on their product than their profit. A lot of other companies are only focused on their bottom line and bringing the money in, and then their products and services start to suffer. RVnGO, he really cares about bringing the best product and bringing people together.
Yeah.
So you already touched on that a little
Right.
bit.
Nowhere in our firm culture or company culture will you see a mission statement, go make money for shareholders. Of course, that is a happy byproduct, but if we focus on our values and delivering our brand promise and bringing people together, that will result in a successful business and happy customers. Happy customers result in happy shareholders.
And happy employees, like your best employee, Jennifer. Now, Richard's not here. I don't want to throw Richard under the bus. We love
just
Richard.
did.
Yeah.
But Jennifer and Richard are my favorite employees. Say hello, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. Hello, everyone.
So Jennifer, how did you get started working with RVnGO?
So it's really interesting. I was in medical devices sales for about 16 years, and I was a teacher before that. But I met Paul kind of living in the same neighborhood and used to see him meeting with his employees out and was always asking about his business, right? Because Paul used to be a corporate attorney.
And Paul's real fun.
Yeah, but he used to be a corporate attorney, and then going from that business, into RVnGO, I was always just saying, hey, how's the business going? And he would be telling me about different things. He's traveling all over the world. Hey, I'm in London this week. I'm in Chicago this week.
Paul has this smooth and relaxed delivery, so you start believing everything he says immediately. You're like, oh, yeah,
Exactly.
he's smooth with it. Yeah.
But it just happened to work out where I've always said I would love to be a part of your company and run some sales and do different things for part of your company, and timing just happened to work out. So I've been with the company for about a year. But yeah, we're really growing from a revenue standpoint and really just getting people aboard, and with Richard doing marketing and everything, we're making it happen, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're, a couple of things I'm really proud of the team. Just our traffic since last summer, our organic traffic is up 10x. I mean, you just don't see that. And everything, it just looks like a hockey stick. And it's really exciting because there are other platforms out there that try and rent out RVs. I mean, they're kind of been at the same level for 2 years. So it's really exciting that we're definitely moving and progressing and maybe becoming number one.
We've got RVnGO's mascot here,
No,
R2.
he's our CFO. I don't know if you
Oh, the CFO. So if you can hear him barking.
Chief Food Officer? Is that what
No,
that
he's
is?
our chief fur officer. He's also VP of HR. So if anybody has an HR complaint, they just go and pet the dog and it goes away.
All right.
But
that's
actually,
perfect.
that brings us into a good segment, because a lot of people, when they're, wanting to rent an RV, they're bringing their kids or bringing their families. A lot of people are saying, hey, can you bring pets, right? So that's another good thing, because it depends on the host, So our hosts are the people that rent out their RVs. So some hosts will say, we're not going to allow pets, and other hosts say, yes, pets are allowed. And that's a big thing right now, because a lot of people are outdoors. They want to, go to the beach. They want to take their dogs to the beach. So we have a lot of owners of RVs that are allowing dogs to come on the RVs.
So on that note, could we have a song from the Martin Niner, Junk the Band?
Well, I will, but I actually have a question, and I want to kind
okay.
of bring it back to the
Yes.
secret of success, which is kind of the theme that we're
Yes,
talking about.
yes.
I think
Unstoppable
it's important,
entrepreneurship.
Yes, unstoppable. And I think it's important to note some points that Paul and I have talked about before, is that money is just a small part of success. And I think, the 80s and 90s kind of drove a different message. And if anything that we've seen, Paul's businesses that I've been associated with, is that the business that put money as a goal, but not as the goal. The goal is good employees, the happy employees, happy people, everybody wins. Win,
Spreading
win,
the
win.
love.
Right.
Totally agree with that. If you start a business focused only on making money, I've never studied it empirically, but I can almost guarantee you're going to fail because you're in it for the wrong reason.
Yes.
And
Yes.
and you really need
It's
to
a sellout,
believe. You just need to believe in something more than money, because otherwise, look, if you just want to be in it for the money, go sell cocaine.
Hey,
The
hey,
cartels
hey.
are hiring.
Low
The cartels are
overhead,
hiring.
that's right.
Don't worry about it. Just if that's all you're
Scratch
worried
that.
about,
Scratch that. I don't believe
I
in
thought it
that.
was funny. It was funny. It was,
That
a,
was a
joke.
joke.
Come on.
But I think
point
you have to really be
is-
passionate about what you're doing, right?
Yes.
So if you wake up every day and you're passionate about what you do, you're somehow giving back to the community or to the environment. I mean, something that makes you feel good about what you do, you wake up every day. I think that's a success right there. And then with that, and then you have those motivated people that are working in your company, and then you got to have that work-life balance, right? So you got to be able
Your
to.
life has to be sustainable.
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
it covers every aspect, not only your job, your business, the work-life balance. Because if you have employees, especially at RVnGO, you want them to go out and take RVs out, right? And go out in the wilderness and experience.
Believe in their own product.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be their own customers, so they know more about what their customers are experiencing, yada, yada, yada. So, I mean, I love that idea because it's, unfortunately, in the 80s, 90s, even in 2000s, that was definitely not what was driving business. And you've seen all of these different businesses
the ones
fail
that
in certain
really
ways.
succeeded had those values. You know,
Yes.
when I was working at First Solar, like everybody went bounding in there every day because we were making affordable solar panels. Like, what could motivate you more? It's not like we were working for a tobacco company,
Right.
And that was a very powerful lesson because nobody, the money came along and the profits came along and all that, and it was a highly successful company, but that wasn't the root of it. Making the money was never the root of it.
Right.
The root of it was people were motivated, believed in what they were doing, believed in the company, believed in the products. And once you get people to do that, and you're providing a service to humanity, you know, it has to be something positive, then great things will happen.
Yep. Couldn't
Well,
agree
I want to
more.
say here in the Green Room, we are passionate about what we do, and I think this show is unstoppable. It's going up to the next level, right? Chet, Martin, Paul.
Absolutely.
Well, I think we're already on a pretty great level. You know, I think part of success is you have to enjoy what you've got and where you've come and where you came from too. So I think the work you've put into the show is amazing, and we're going to keep progressing. But,
Exactly. And people can find us on Facebook in the greenroom.green, Instagram in the greenroom.green, and we have a new YouTube channel which we're really trying to promote. You can go to check out the Cheryl Cooper interview, Cheryl Cooper in the Green Room, and you can find it instantly, and that's one of my favorite shows because she's unstoppable, and that's what the show's about. So let's hear Martin Niner.
Well, we're talking about unstoppable success, and you're wondering if it's the right thing to do. I can just tell you from personal experience that money's the last thing you want to focus on to-do list. You make a list about what you want and do it in the present tense. It doesn't matter how small or how big, just write it down. And then put that list away and just go live your life. And you'll just be amazed if you pick up that list in about a year. It'll be amazing what you are able to accomplish. Be unstoppable, like here at in the Green Room. Be unstoppable, and live your own dream. Woo! There you go.
We love your voice, your lyrics, everything about you, Martin, and your energy. You're unstoppable. Tell us a little bit about how you are an entrepreneur. You're unstoppable, and
And you've done
your
so
secrets
many
to
things
success.
too. Yeah.
I surprisingly, I have.
And people need to know as they're listening that he is my life coach / relationship coach / sex coach. And so if you guys need any help, how do they find you, Martin?
You can find me at yesismorefun.com or junktheband.com. You can also just type in all that as one word, Yes is More Fun, and you'll find me in Google. And that's really been the theme of my life, at least for about the last 7 years. Once I started being coached and started coaching, like Kinga said. I've got a certificate of coaching. I'm a professional coach. I work with a group out of Atlanta. But I've done so many different things in life. I've a serial entrepreneur. I've started 10 businesses in the last 30 years, all the way from construction companies to environmental chemical companies to IT companies to, God, I can't even remember, probably half of them. Some of them were successful, some of them weren't. And I've learned so much through that. I've also, had a unsuccessful marriage and, lived through that. I have 4 beautiful children who turned out pretty amazingly well, even despite all of those things.
But,
and
I think, just to add on to that, I think obviously you were happy for a while. I wouldn't say the whole thing was unsuccessful. Maybe you just ended unsuccessfully.
Yes.
That's a great point.
One of
That's a great point.
my favorite mentors said, Martin, I was married for 40 years. It was the best 15 years of my life. And so,
exactly.
Yes, no, my ex-wife and I are still very good friends now. We're close. We talk every week. I still help her with the family business.
Yes.
We still talk about the children and, try to get together whenever we can. I'm still very close to her family. And so, that's success to me.
And the main point here, too, is that you need to learn from your failures. A lot of people are just scared to fail.
They're scared to fail, or if they fail, they start beating themselves up. I think that's probably one of the biggest job that I have as a coach is to get people to stop beating themselves up, to stop overthinking, to stop putting themselves down.
Instead, you need to evolve and say, what did not work here? How can I get better? And how are we going to make it work next time?
Exactly. It's
Positivity is everything.
It really is.
And spreading love and coming from love. And that's what you've taught me, really. And you've coached me through, I had a long marriage of 28 years. And I think through your coaching, I have forgiveness. And I've become best friends with Chet's dad. And we talk often, and we're just good friends. And we just realize that forever we will be parents to our children. And it doesn't matter if they're 50 or 60 or 20.
Yes.
We will always be parents to Rachel and Chet.
Absolutely. And seeing that is, to me, what success is all about.
I mean, it's probably easier to forgive him if you get $1 million house out of the divorce settlement. But hey,
But you also have to learn
have
to learn how to forgive yourself, right? So it's not only forgiving
so
others,
important.
but you have to forgive yourself in order to move on in
true
life.
that. That was really deep,
Yes.
Jennifer. Very deep.
So, if
Hit
I
us with
knew...
the deep wisdom at 10 a.m. Come on.
it's the champagne.
Let's give her a raise. Jennifer and Richard get
Well, at least
Paul's
raise
not
the
going to have a
glass.
company if he gives everybody raises at the rates you ask him to.
Exactly. Every sentence, a new 10% raise. Oh, my God.
So Jennifer brought these napkins here. Can you read this, Jennifer?
Oh, I love these. So it says, alcohol because no great story ever started with someone eating a salad.
I love it.
As a vegetarian, I like that joke.
So on that theme, if I knew everything now that going through RVnGO, I think stubbornness was a big part of it. Mm-hmm. And another big part of it was, just belief in yourself. You haven't failed before, so why start now? And maybe just remember your successes and don't beat yourself up as much because we all fail. You have to. If you're not failing, you're not trying hard enough.
So I've heard so many people say that are successful.
Isn't that one of
you
Kiyosaki's
aren't
sayings?
pushing yourself if you're not.
Yes.
It's one of Kiyosaki's sayings.
Right.
Yes.
I'm sure it's a lot of people
I
saying.
mean, Bill Belichick will preach that too.
Right.
You know?
Oh,
Yeah. If you're not
The GOAT.
Yeah, if you're not failing, and it's also redefining failure because if I really look back, most of my quote unquote failures propelled me into something amazing. My quote unquote failed marriage propelled me into an amazing relationship that I have now that I'm more mature and better equipped to handle than I was my first marriage, right? So I've become the person that that the dream girl that I wanted would want, right? So you have to raise yourself up.
Yeah, and I think you said redefining failure, but I think it's really for instance, for me, I plan to fail. Like when I give the company goals, we plan to not meet those because they're stretches.
Yeah.
And if you don't shoot for the stars, you don't hit the moon. And so we know that we're going to, so, just be realistic. And at the end of the day, wow, we did something pretty amazing. Okay, we didn't set that goal, but we knew we weren't. It was always a stretch goal.
Right.
And so maybe that's a bit of it too.
Paul, when you are interviewing for a new employee, because you're always hiring, what is an important question that is like solid when you ask?
Well,
you're
I love the
in an interview.
That's a great question.
Yeah, we've all interviewed people, especially if you're going to start running a company or being an entrepreneur, you're going to hire a lot of people. And the main things I focus on, does this person, first of all, are they qualified to do what they said they're going to do, right? So that's just getting them to competency level. And then once you have that level of competency and you have a great candidate, then do they believe in your values, the values of your company? And you really need to be very clear about it. And Jennifer can tell you, we really stress what the values are. I onboard every employee. We have like an hour and a half seminar, and presentation includes videos from TED Talk on very specific topics. And, what are the things we believe in? So bringing people together. What are our values? Accountability, respect, honesty, and integrity. Now, nobody's going to disagree with those 4 words, right? It's really hard to disagree. And if somebody says, yeah, I don't believe in honesty, okay, interview's over. But
That'd be pretty ballsy to say that.
yeah.
That sounds like a good
Honesty,
country song.
overrated.
I don't believe in
Yeah,
honesty.
but
Took my
but then it's
tractor,
really
ran the trailer.
But people could use that same word in completely different ways, and so it's really exploring: do they use that word in the same way that you do? And then my final thought on that is I learned this a while ago, which is I call it the Big Mac of economics. So in economics, to compare different countries and different worlds, they typically measure how long does it take somebody to earn a Big Mac. In other words, there's one common denominator, one good in the world. So I always end up asking one question that's the same to everybody I've ever interviewed. And, I'm not going to tell you what my question is, but it goes to what's the basic value.
Oh, come on. Tell us that secret question.
It's a secret.
You're going to have to apply at RVnGO.
that's right.
Well, he already
Why?
told me.
I
Okay.
actually like that one.
Okay, and I know the question, but see, I won't divulge
So-
it because
so-
Paul asked me not to.
Well,
And
so
see,
all right.
I
mean-
can keep a secret.
Right. So everybody, if
We'll see.
if you're interviewing, what is the core value you're trying to really match up with that person? What's the core value you're really trying to explore? And I came from a corporate law background, and so ethics was incredibly important. And anybody who was in my organization was ethical and had the highest moral standing. So my standard question always at the end of an interview was, tell me about a moral dilemma you've had. And the only wrong answer is, I don't have moral dilemmas. and they
I
just
feel
listen to-
nothing.
yeah,
That's right.
exactly. So
I'm
but
a
everybody-
lizard brain.
Oh, hold on. So you told the secret question. Wow.
Well, that
we
was
got it
my-
out of Paul.
That's my
He's
question.
had a lot of champagne
Everybody
this
else
morning.
should have everybody else should have a different question. It's whatever is important to you. If the value is honesty, tell me something about that. And obviously ask it as an open-ended question, not a cross-examination, narrowing question. Just let people talk and see what happens.
That's a smart question too, because then if someone is, just fibbing their way through the interview and they go, "Oh, I don't have moral dilemmas," then you caught them right there, checkmate. Oh, you're not thinking about these questions and answering from a truthful.
He's smarter
place.
than he looks, right?
He looks pretty smart. I don't know. I would look at him and be like, "Oh, he's not smart."
Now, another thing about entrepreneurship, if I want to talk about, one thing I'm really
Yes.
proud about that RVnGO does is it is a platform for entrepreneurship. Because
Really? How so, Paul?
Well, because individuals, and we see this all the time, individuals who, for whatever reason, might have an RV hanging around can rent it out and start an RV rental franchise business.
Well, and if you have friends that have RVs that are sitting in the lot collecting $300 a month or $400 a month rent, you could manage it for them, right?
Exactly. Just like people manage properties on Airbnb, we see people managing RVs on RVnGO, and that's how typically people start in this business. They
So
might-
are you saying people can make a lot of money this way?
Absolutely, and it really it's saved many people because. So, for instance, we have, I'm not going to use her name, but we had one host, her husband had a stroke. And so he couldn't drive the big Class A RV, and it's sitting there in their driveway. And so she started to rent it out and was making great money and enough to pay for the medical bills because they were going underwater. And so now she's managing 4 other RVs, and that's pretty much all she wants to do. But she could do 20, 30 and start a whole business. So there's that. A lot of people I've talked to have gone through maybe a divorce, and somebody has the RV, and now they're not going to use it anymore. And the reality with RVs is you're usually underwater because they're a depreciating asset. You take a long-term loan on them, so now you can't even sell it. You'd have to come up with money to sell it. Instead, now you could come to RVnGO, you rent it out. At RVnGO, we don't charge any fees to the guest and host. Other platform charge 30% in fees. So right away, you're ahead of the game. And we take the biggest concern is, all right, what if my RV gets demolished in a crash or is involved? Well, we insure it just for the rental. So you can just keep your regular RV insurance, and then we've really tried to create zero friction to entry. So it's just really easy for people to start up what we call an RVnGO RV rental franchise for free. We don't charge any fees. We give you all the software and all the customers and all the leads you need to run your business. So we will.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I have a question. What is the number one way you can keep your employees happy? As Jennifer's sitting right here.
Give them Prosecco. No, I'm kidding.
I think to keep your employees happy, once again, we talked about that earlier, you got to have a work-life balance, right? But you also have to have a product that you're passionate about. Or in our industry, I came from medical device sales and teaching, and I'm like, who would have ever thought I'd be in the RV world, right?
I wouldn't have thought this. If you told me 5 years ago I'd be running a peer-to-peer, person-to-person RV platform, I'd go, no way.
But I think to keep your employees happy is Paul has that open door policy, right? So we are a company that makes decisions like team consensus decisions. We are all talking to each other. We're a smaller company, right? We're about 15, 20 people. So we're a smaller company, but I love the feel of this company. I wake up every day and I'm happy every day to be working for this company, right? Because I can talk to Paul every day. Every single employee, we're on Teams meetings every day. We're on sales meetings. Our CEO's on these meetings with us, right?
In fact, he does something called Beer 30.
Yeah.
On Fridays with all the employees.
Which is really nice because, back in the day when they had the office, they would do that once in a while, Beer 30, get together for a happy hour. But now, since a lot of people are working from home, we might not ever go back to an office. We do a Beer 30 virtually where you can have a cup of coffee or you
So
can
it
have an
sounds like the
alcoholic
office
drink.
culture is really friendly and sustainable, and mutual respect is a common thing.
It is, and it has to be. Otherwise, you're not going to be a part of this company.
Right. And that translates into the product we deliver and the way we even deliver it. So, again, we're very transparent and honest with our customers, with our guests and our hosts. And that really differentiates us. And we're very transparent in, what the insurance covers, how much it is. Everybody else is opaque. And so it really translates into a better product, I think. Now, some people want to be opaque, fine, run your business that way, but not this business. Right.
And I also think what's important, too, is we also are learning every day, right? We're a startup company. We've been around for a few years, but we want to hear from our hosts. We want to hear from our guests. What do you like that we're doing, and what can we do better?
Well, that's one of the things I've been really impressed with your guys is that you guys are open to change. You guys are embrace change, right? And I think the interesting point that you made earlier, Paul, 5 years ago, you would have bet probably a lot of money against what you're doing now, right? But it is because you were open, and because specifically you were open to change, you were open to the unknown, and that's again a secret to success is embracing change, being change,
and approaching it with that open mindset, like looking at the marketplace without preconceptions, without prejudices of how you think the marketplace should be. So, for instance, people go, well, you never ran an RV rental company before, so why are you doing this? And I go, well, it's exactly that, because I came at it and said, wow, this is messed up. This marketplace is messed up. The way people are doing it, there's so many better ways to do it. Whereas if I was coming from that old industry, I would have just probably codified the old way of doing business. And instead, we've really tried to disrupt it in the sense that we make our hosts more money and we cut out all the steps that they don't need to do, and we take care of it and just make it easier. The CEO of Uber was not an ex-taxi cab driver. That's That's not the requirement.
Yeah, right,
you know?
right.
He was a problem solver, you know, and anybody who runs that company or companies like that is, you know, you could have come from the industry, of course, but the real thing is to be open and be honest about what the industry needs. And we're always learning. So to Jennifer's point, anybody who's on RVnGO, you know, www.rvngo.com, send us a chat, send us an email, tell us what you like, tell us what you don't do. We've evolved the product when we get input from either our guests or our hosts. It's like, this doesn't make sense or this doesn't work. We change it. Or wouldn't it be nice if? And we go, yeah, it would be nice. So we give it.
This is an amazing segue to the fact that Kinga started the show with zero experience in broadcasting or radio or any type of media, and she basically just made it happen through just sheer determination, passion about the show, keeping it going. And you had Paul had extensive education. She never even technically went to like any kind of broadcasting school, yet she's had this successful show for years. So it really shows that if you have an idea.
It's because you're successful and you make the show.
Well, no, it's because you really
you're so
believe
smart.
in the idea and you believe or you're passionate about the product you're creating. And so this goes back to, if you're listening right now and you have an idea, you have a business you want to start, you should get out there and start doing it tomorrow. Maybe you might need to learn some more, go to school a little bit, but just because you don't have a degree doesn't mean you can't make it happen. If you have a good product idea and you have the passion and you're willing to put the work in, you can make it happen.
And be unstoppable.
And there are people out there
great point.
who
That's really a
will
great
help
point.
you if you ask. I think as a young man and a middle-aged man, I had a very difficult time asking for help. I had to do it all myself, and it wasn't until I was in my 40s that I kind of got the idea of, I need help to really
your
be
pride
successful.
aside.
Yes, I had to get rid of it, not put it aside. I had to destroy it.
Yeah.
Mentorship is really important, and it cuts both ways. So, if you can become a mentor, and it doesn't have to be anything formal like some kind of organization. It could be mentor to your employees or to your team members, but also be open to mentorship, which is, I think, what you're saying. And I totally agree with that. And
also networking, right? Networking is really important. So Martin might know someone that could get me connected to go play the piano at a place, or Chet might get me connected in the music world, right? Chet has amazing music. I'm all about Chet's music, and I want to get him hooked up
And he
in
owes me a
Hollywood.
song.
How do we find
I
Chet's
know.
music? Let's find.
Yes.
You're on a
Let's
deadline.
pump
We're
his
gonna
music.
collab.
Chet, how do people find your music?
Yes.
Well, I produce under a few different aliases, but my main account is called Deep Chetty. You can find it on Spotify, SoundCloud, any of them. But yeah, I love music production and DJing. That's my main passion, my 9 to 5, if you will. Being a podcast
But we're gonna get you
co-host is
big.
my side
We
thing.
want to get you bigger than you already are.
Oh,
so
100%.
I have some
Progression
people
is the
in
goal.
Hollywood that we're going to
1,000%.
introduce them to. So it's all about networking.
Well, all about networking. I met Jennifer, and Jennifer and I clicked from the moment we
Well, I think
said hello.
networking
and
is important,
but she introduced me to Paul.
having the passion and the product has to come first, because nobody wants to network with somebody that doesn't have
Yeah, you got to
something to
have
offer.
you got to have a
True,
pitch. You
true.
got to have something that they're interested in.
Yeah, exactly. You have to be creating and producing
Yes.
something awesome. Because I know some
Right.
people that think that connections and networking is everything. No, you need to still have your own goals and your own product and your own passions,
Yes.
and then the networking will help.
It's
And I
true,
just
because
really
I could
wanna-
connect. I could connect you to someone, but if I really didn't believe in your music, I mean, what's the point of
Exactly.
connecting,
Yeah,
right?
it would be like we wouldn't really know where to go from there.
Yeah,
But I have
exactly.
awesome music. I
Like
can
you
DJ the
do.
best show you've ever
I mean,
heard.
I kind of want to replay the show that Richard's on here dancing to his music. That was the best. But
You can
actually,
find it.
it's
I
so
love it.
huge. I know, it's so
He was
huge.
getting down. Yeah, I mean,
Your music is so
Mm-hmm.
big that there are certain people, right, that I feel like I want to connect them with, and you want to connect them. We all want to be
See,
successful.
and
So it
that's
goes
amazing
back-
to hear that, because that's what I want my music to do. I want it to inspire
It
people. I want it
does.
to make people dance. I want it to make people
Isn't
happy.
that
So,
fun? And right now
yeah.
during COVID, and now that hopefully COVID's dying down, don't we kind of sometimes just miss the everyday laughs? We need to see more people out there laughing and more people out there enjoying life.
Because it's
and more-
contagious.
Right.
We were speaking about that yesterday.
Get out there and
I
rent an
laugh.
RV, maybe.
Kinga's laugh is
Rent an
contagious.
RV, go to a music festival.
Life is coming back to normal. The
Yes,
festivals
I
are
love
opening
it.
up. The events are
Get
opening up.
vaccinated.
Which, we're
Get,
gonna have,
go out there
we're-
and
we
RV.
should-
Yes.
We're
So
going to have
Martin-
RV and go at
Well,
Bottle Rocket.
one of my longtime goals is, speaking of DJ, and just kind of this talking about being open. Here's a young artist, and we'll say I'm a much older artist, right? And we have probably different.
Do we go by
tastes.
Deep Chetty?
Yeah.
One of my aliases.
Right.
Yeah.
And so, but, now there's this huge movement in music to combine DJs and live performers, right? And that's been something I've been wanting to do for a long time. So now, just because of the networking here, I'm able to hopefully one day.
Martin and I have plans to create a song where I'm going to make the basses live, and then he's going to improvise live instruments with his band too. Hopefully we can get some horns on
and
there.
eventually
some
I'd
sound.
like to do
why
a
talk
whole
about
show.
maybe
Oh,
doing
1000%.
it? Let's do the show with that.
It's a plan.
Okay.
We're in.
Now,
We're going to chef something up in the studio.
So can we go to a song, and then I have some questions for Paul. I'm going to have a little cliffhanger here. Think about it. Have you ever had to fire somebody within your company, and why?
And if there's more than one answer, we want to hear the funniest story, the best story.
Let's see. What do we want to sing about?
Unstoppable.
Or chasing your dreams.
In the green room.
Love.
Spreading the love.
Well, I was walking down the beach, and I was looking at the sand. I was wondering about the person in my band. They didn't look happy, yet they didn't look sad. I wondered what trauma they were dealing with. Could it be that bad? We all want to be happy, but sometimes it's not easy. We all want to be happy. It's a choice. Love is in the air, only when you want it to be. Be open and carefree. It's a choice. If you wanna spread your wings and fly and be with success, you gotta put down the walls and just open up and profess. I wanna be happy,
Happy.
but it's not easy.
Easy.
I wanna be happy,
Happy.
it's a choice.
It's a choice.
I like it.
That's awesome. The backup vocals. The last one sounded good.
Yeah,
the one
yeah.
before that was like, what key is that?
That was the
What
key
the
of
F minor?
F sharp diminished ninth, I believe. I think we're reliving Spinal Tap, where they're singing in front of
That's right.
Graceland
Well,
and
just-
totally off key.
Rock and roll, everybody.
So we had a question for you, Paul, before we went to the music. Give us some answers.
well, so anytime people leave an organization, and it's not just RVnGO, but anything, I always feel like that's a failure on the team lead and management. But sometimes there's just necessary changes, and it's usually falls into two camps. One is they don't have the skills that are required for the job, and there's just no way for them to gain those skills or evolve or become trained. So I wouldn't like to use the word incompetent, but they're just not going to be able to do their job well. That's one. And then probably the other one, even if they're doing their job well, if they don't share the values of the organization, we've had to part ways with people who just didn't see eye to eye. And again, it's not just those four words in our case, but then how do you implement those words? How are decisions made, et cetera?
I think also sometimes people are dealing with some personal struggles that interfere with their jobs, and we've had that happen within our company. So unfortunately, that interferes with your job, and therefore we have to let that go, which actually could get us on a whole nother topic, right? I mean, people that are dealing with struggles in their life, whether it's alcoholism or depression or whatever. And
That's really common coming out
Right.
of COVID, too. A lot of people have mental
Exactly.
health issues that are residual kind of
It was a
side
tough time
effects.
for, I think, everybody, right? This was a
So
crazy
next
year.
question:
And
how
even here in
is this
Arizona, we were
is this
open
gonna
up
go-
and
Oh.
we were able to still go out and do a lot more than other states. Like people
But-
some people are still in states that are somewhat locked
But think
down.
about how emotional
Countries
people
are
got.
totally
Canada,
locked
right?
down. Canada's
And
totally
how,
locked down.
and
yeah.
how
Paul's on the right
emotional
side of the
people
border
got.
there.
I remember when Paul got his vaccination, he called me and he was crying when he got his shot.
I was just very
Because-
emotional.
I was with them right after
Yeah,
he got
the
his
boo-boo.
shot. We
Yeah.
celebrated. We
Yeah.
celebrated.
Happy
But
about
he
it.
was crying. He was.
I was so happy.
So next question:
End
will
of a
your
crazy year, and I didn't die.
company go public? Is my next question.
I don't want to. I don't want to get in trouble with the SEC and start
Yeah, you can't.
promoting. promoting
I
stock
thought
right
if you have a plan to go public.
now. No,
You
not
have to have an
until-
official plan and announce
Not
it.
until there's a
Oh,
registered SEC.
Yeah.
okay.
I have a
didn't
question.
know
Have you
that.
ever killed anyone?
While we have you on the air, on the record,
As far as I know,
list all of your sins. No.
Okay, next question. I know that you are very artistic. You decided to start painting at a, I don't know what age.
I loved painting when I was in high school, but hey, that wasn't cool. I was going to go play some football and knock some people down on their ass. So and it took a while, and then probably in my 30s, I took it up and started painting, and it's always something that's there in my life. Yeah, I love it. It's just an outlet for creativity.
His whole entire place, all the walls are graced
Well,
with this
let's
beautiful
touch on
art.
this. Having outlet for creativity is so important for developing other parts of your brain. It helps you with your business.
I think so. I think
sense and
people who are
everything.
successful entrepreneurs have a creative streak in them. That you have to. If you're just, there are other people. Okay, go do other jobs. Go do that engineering or go do that. Processing job, admin job. Those jobs are great. They're valuable. They need to be done. But to be a successful entrepreneur, I think at the core of it, you have to be creative. You have to come up with an idea. And just to kind of circle back on it, that idea can't be, oh, I want to make money. That's not a belief that's going to drive you to the next level.
That's everyone's idea.
Right. Right. Everybody's
not
like, oh, I need
unique.
to make it. And you don't. You really actually don't need to make money, right? It's like Maslow's hierarchy. You need to first feed yourself, then you need to take care of yourself, then you need self-actualization. And at the highest level, self-actualization through creativity is really what you're doing. And, there's some really great examples. Like, again, in our company, we do not, there's nowhere, anywhere stated, mission statement, make, ROI for shareholders. We don't. And I know I've met companies and I've advised companies. I've been in boardrooms where that was their goal. And the reason I'm in the boardroom is, okay, we're going to file for bankruptcy. How do we do this? Because and so as a corporate lawyer, you usually get called in when things have gone totally wrong. So that was past life, and I did learn from that. And a lot of companies where that was their only goal, their only anchor. That is no anchor. They are a ship adrift when that is their goal. They have no idea what they're doing and why they're doing it. If you understand why you're doing it, then start with that. Start with the why, and
Start with the why. I love that.
yeah, start with the why, then how, then what. Don't start with what. Like, that's sort of spec selling. This is what we do. What, and how we do it. Well, we give you a computer, but why are we doing this?
So, Paul, do you wake up in the morning and make a list for the day and have certain goals? I mean, being this leader
I
with
tried
this company?
Yeah, definitely. Everybody needs to kind of prioritize and have a list, and it's a matter of prioritizing that. But I just want to get back to the idea of like making money, and there's a really good example of
Let's make lots of money.
right. I mean, it's,
Martin, can you open up this? Jennifer's been asking for that to be
Oh,
open.
we need some champagne.
Okay, thank you.
So I want to just talk about where Boeing went wrong. Boeing was a great company.
Yes.
They are recovering. They're on death throes, and only because they're too big to fail. And the reason is some engineer, and I don't know if it's a guy or a girl, it really doesn't matter, thought their job was to make money. No, their job was to fly people safely from A to B. And somehow they forgot that, and they decided to
Their
charge.
planes started falling out of the sky.
Yeah, they start to charge for a core safety feature. Hey, if you want to fly safely, you got to pay another $15 million. And they don't actually tell people you need to do this. I mean, no, that's part of the deal. You just make the plane $15 million more expensive,
And
so
make
it doesn't
it safe.
so it doesn't fall out of the sky. And so, how did that turn out for Boeing, where an engineer forgot what they were doing? They were trying to make safe planes, and they forgot. They thought they were making money, and so that's, I don't know if
It shows if you lose that purpose, core goal that the whole thing is going to go askew eventually.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of time. If money clouds your vision, it's just a matter of time.
Yep.
You know, it's another really great example. I'm going to wing it because I really haven't talked about this, is Kodak. Because Kodak had all the patents on digital photography. Every phone you'd be using right now would be paying a Kodak digital patent. Every photo you're taking would be taking a small percentage. Instead, they thought their purpose was to make money, and their biggest money maker was, their Kodak color chrome color processing. And if they realized their purpose was to let people make images or some other purpose, they would be one of the most powerful companies still right now, one of the most relevant companies. But they forgot that. They had no purpose. They really didn't. From the culture that I saw at the end, it was just like cash. How do we preserve ourselves? How do we make money? How do we, do all that? So it's just an example.
No, I think it's a good example. I think you see that all over the place. Red Lobster comes to mind. They used to be an amazing seafood restaurant. Then they kind of lost their way. They got sold here and there. And they're just now coming back. But there was a time there where you could just tell that an accountant was running the food purchasing. And no offense to accountants out there, but this guy doesn't know. He's not a chef, and he doesn't know. You have to spend the money to get the quality ingredients, and it was just obvious that had happened. I think it happens all the time.
Great example.
Or where we've seen it happen too. Another big company, Apple. When Steve Jobs was running that ship, the iPhone, every single one was, wow, what are the new features this thing can accomplish? Wow, now the screen is this much more sensitive, or it's this much more shatter resistant. Ever since Steve Jobs passed away, I feel like they've lost a lot of their product vision, and now a lot of their products are obsolete within a year.
Or they make them obsolete.
And a lot of other smartphone companies are passing them up now because it seems like they've kind of sold out. They're just making a new model to make the next check rather than to really innovate and make the next new great smartphone.
They kind of lost their way in a bit. And
major, I think.
I'll promote another. There's a TED Talk out there by Simon Sinek, and I really highly recommend people tuning into that. And I don't know, maybe on the end of this podcast, you guys can give the link to it. And he starts with why, and he uses 3 examples. He uses Apple, he uses the Wright brothers, and he uses Martin Luther King Jr. And, in Martin Luther King Jr.'s case, there's lots of other people who he starts with why he was so he was like why he was so successful at promoting his message, and it's because he started with I have a dream. Why? And his why was there's a higher law, and regardless of what man's laws are, if they don't follow the higher law, they'll eventually be overturned. And he started with I have a dream, not I have a plan, or I have a 100-point bulletin board, And to your point about the Wright brothers, the great example there, they had competitors that were way better funded, had all these PhDs from every known university that should have made flight happen. Those guys, the Wright brothers, were just super passionate about it. And as soon as they got it done, that other competitor fell apart because all he was about was making money. And once he couldn't be that famous first person, he could have made a better plane. He could have said, oh, okay, they did that, let's do this. And, oh, biplane, let's make a biplane. Oh, fighter jet, let's make a fighter jet. No, he just totally dropped out. And the last one is Apple, and they were very successful in their why, which was, we're breaking the status quo with our equipment.
Well, Steve Jobs was really famous for firing anybody that, lost their company, their motto that was making the best, most innovative products. He was famous for firing 10 engineers at a time because he'd go, "You guys don't fit this company's mission.
Right.
You're out. You're gone."
Right.
So,
yeah. Absolutely. And goes back to the point, they didn't share the values of Apple.
So values, determination, leadership, unstoppable.
I think we got to throw passion in there. You
passion.
got to love what you're doing.
Yeah.
And how about spreading the love? Because don't you feel like a successful, I feel like in the green room, for example, we have repeat guests that come on often, like Martin, like Paul, like Jennifer, because we all share in this
I mean, it
mission.
depends on what your product is. Smith &
Exactly.
Wesson is making amazing guns. They're not spreading love, but it's all about commitment to the product.
Yes.
I think.
But
But spreading love is a great byproduct that can happen from a well-structured business, 100%.
Or even just make it broader, just wellness, right?
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I really think at RVnGO we're doing that because we let hosts who want to make money, we have a platform for entrepreneurship. They can become their own RV rental franchise really easily. But then also guests, getting together with their family and spreading that wellness, getting back in touch with nature, doing all that.
Being in nature is one of the best wellness things you can do for yourself.
Right.
Oh, 100%. Well, and Paul touched on earlier that we haven't really talked about it much in the past, but it's huge that RVnGO is opening up doors for people that are maybe stuck with an expensive RV situation.
Yeah,
you guys
that's
are
a pretty
basically
cool-
letting people out of like a financial prison in a way, because some of those people that would be stuck $400 in a hole, now they're $4,000 in the green.
We're storming the RV finance Bastille.
RVnGO, watch out for them.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Very
help you
cool.
out. And look, hey, there's 11 million RV owners out there in the United States alone. And so everybody's got their own story. And yeah, some of them are, I can't afford this thing anymore. Well, here's a way that you can. And actually it'll turn into a business and make you a ton of money. It's a very, with COVID, that's even more. But even before COVID, I'll just say about RVing, it's one of the most popular things that millennials are doing, and they love it. And they don't want to own them, so they love to rent them. So it is definitely the biggest growing segment. It is the way to go. So if you have an RV out there and you're thinking about it, look at RVnGO and look at what we do for you and how easy we try and make it for you.
So
And if
Paul,
you're thinking about starting your own business,
Yes.
or you have
I was just
a
gonna say that.
passion you want to chase, go out there and get started on it today. Don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for next week. Start chasing your dreams today.
Believe
That's
in
what
your
everybody
dreams
in the studio is doing.
and be unstoppable.
That's right. If
And-
you have an amazing idea, visit Yes Is More Fun and also listen to the title.
And we're going to close out with a song. But before closing out with a song, I want to ask Paul 3 tips if somebody wants to start their own business. What got you motivated? 3 last tips.
Well, I would start with you need a passion. You need an idea that you're passionate about, that you really want to pursue, because there's going to be hard days, Second one is, all right, just go do it. Start it. I mean, I was a
Just
corporate
go do it.
lawyer.
I like
didn't,
that.
I didn't know anything about RV rentals, but I did know a little bit about insurance. I did know a little bit about running companies and things like that. So also go with something you kind of know, but, on the fringes, so grow. Right? So you don't want to go off completely out into left field, because you probably will fail if you've never done it. It's something related to what you're used to. And I don't know if there's a third point is just be really clear why you're doing it and what your passion is for doing it and what your values are, and then build the company or the business or the idea around that. It doesn't have to be a business. It could be a podcast. It could be write a book. It could be create a movie. It could be start a band.
A podcast. Yay.
Right.
In the green room. So here we go. We're going to close out. Thank you so much, Paul Kacir,
Great show,
RVnGO, and
everyone.
Jennifer.
In the green room, green.
Let's hear Martin, Junk the Band.
I'll say yes.